BTC floating around 110K at the moment. Are we in for the biggest bear trap ever? Is this Japanese news just a red herring for some more pumpage, guys? We're going to look at BTC today. We're going to look at a couple of targets. I want to know what's going on the upside there. And then we've got tons of altcoin setups for you as usual. I've actually got a couple of shorts that we're trying to tee up here at the moment as well. So much to talk about here. Let's get right into it. And remember, guys, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. I've got Mr. 𝗵𝗆𝗟𝗍 is here, captain of good and bad news. Is it good news today or bad news today, sir?
Well, I think a little bit of both. Japan's not good, but there's some bullish news here from Trump and a little bit of tariff news sprinkled in. And yeah, we're a mix. What do you know? We're 𝗵𝗆𝗟𝗍.
And that is exactly why we're chopping around again with BTC. If you're getting frustrated, well, I feel your pain. It's up, it's down, it's all over the place at the moment. And we're going to look at some key levels again. And also, today's the day. Are you going to decide if you're a short-term scalp trader or are you looking for the bigger move? So I've got a couple of tokens with some bigger moves for you guys. I've got a couple of longs potentially building up here. That could be a nice play for those of you guys that want to trade a bit less, for example. Okay, Neil T says VNEC report incoming, deep V recovery incoming. Okay, QNT. Don't even ask me what this dog shit is. There was a little scalp involved this morning, but not much. So that thing is cooking. 16% cake is one of the shorts. One of the Chart Hackers members brought to my attention this morning, and I dropped it as a head short play. So I've grabbed that cake short in a good zone. We're talking about that cake chart. There might be another entry coming for you guys on the next pump. Virtual is absolutely disgusting. It dropped into my zone last night in the middle of my sleep. And these Asians came and fixed it, and they've absolutely sent this thing. So Virtual's cooking. Injective is at highs at the moment, could be in a bit of a danger zone. So look, nice and green at the moment. We've had a good move out of the Asians, but I'd say this current US session has been a little bit choppy and a little bit choppy for the rest of the day, but nice and green leftovers from those kind Asians last night. Now let's see what is going down on BTC, and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is enjoying the roller coaster, and that's exactly why I call this ping pong levels, because this is exactly what these guys are doing to us at the moment. We're bouncing around up and down, and obviously the most volatile altcoins, and especially the super high leverage traders, are getting put under tons of pressure. Okay, so I've had quite a busy day. I've been doing the Accelerator School workshop number 2, and I haven't had much time in front of the charts, but I did see some of my chats light up when BTC started pumping, and I immediately opened it, and I saw, well, here we are pushing into the big hot zone from yesterday, 110,800, and that obviously gave us a beautiful head short opportunity there on BTC. So I'm busy riding BTC long and short at the moment. I'll show you exactly what's going on, but I've locked in that head short play here in case the wheels start coming off and they send us to hell. At least we have a little bit of cover there to the downside. Now, this whole news situation is getting a little bit suspicious because the S&P is looking nice and bullish, and a lot of people were expecting the S&P to actually gap down today, but subsequent to this, there's been a lot of decent tariff news out there and things like that. So things are starting to look a little bit better from the US front. So there is a possibility that we do get a little bit more pumpage out of BTC. But what I want you guys to pay attention to is another visit to 110.8. That could be another possible short zone. That could be a possible double top situation there for you guys that you can look at. So no exiting that short for me just yet. Then a little bit higher into 112K or 111,900 is going to be our highs. This is going to be super interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a sharp push through here, some kind of flush there, and then they just send this one lower. So that is kind of what I'm looking for. If we do pump into those highs again, I'm going to have another crack at a BTC short. So around that 111,900, 112K zone is starting to look interesting. You can see there is some divergence printing as well on BTC on the 1 hour. So if they do give us another push here, it could give us an opportunity for some kind of reversal. So watch that super carefully. Then in terms of downside play, well, pretty nice. I mean, they dropped us down. Look what they reacted on here. VWAP for us at the lows, 109K, 382 zone as well. A little bit of a wick there. And that is going to be our support marker that we need to watch now, number 1. So 109K, and then a little bit lower down, I've got 108,100. So these are the big ones to the downside. So if there is a little bit of carnage later on, that is probably going to be the next area where you are going to look for some kind of bounce play, that 108K zone. You can see I've got a nice trend there as well, giving extra confluence. course, we've got the candle, or we've got the wick-fill that could come into play here too. So that makes a lot of sense to me. 618 as well. A lot going on in that lower region. Okay, so I'll make sure this chart with all the charts on the show, they obviously get dropped straight into Chart Hackers directly after the show. And welcome to all the new Chart Hackers members. We had, I don't know, how many was it? About 60 came and joined us in the last 2 days. And so welcome to all the new Chart Hackers members. I hope you guys are settling in and getting your way around and starting to meet the community and some of the other traders there. Okay, so guys, those are the ping pong BTC levels. Let's tie this in with short-term lickies. And you can see to the downside, this is the 24-hour we're watching. Nice little zone, 108K. Bang into that 108K region I've just mentioned on that previous chart. So that is a big zone. And then upside, lo and behold, look at that, into 112K. Bang. Okay, liquidation hunt to the upside, liquidation hunt to the downside. Ties in very nicely with these short-term 1 hour levels. So you can play with those areas there and have a little bit of fun. Okay, now let's talk lickies. Let's see the numbers here, because it's been a little bit choppy. And what we can see, 24-hour rect, only 250 milli, James. The rookie numbers again, disappointing figures here. I thought
we need more lickies.
Yeah, we need more lickies, guys. I thought we were going to get bigger numbers than that. I really thought, geez, I can't wait for my licky shirt to arrive. I'm super excited. Okay, so not doing that well, but this is literally me at the moment. Okay, in the mornings when I wake up, it's nicotine, caffeine, and crypto. I mean, that is basically where I'm locked in at the moment. I hope some of you guys also locked in to your crypto.
Trying to stay away from the nicotine. Wife doesn't like it much.
Wife hates that stuff. Okay, now, what is going on at the moment? China's central bank injected another $53 billion, okay, through reverse repo operations. We've seen this story before, okay? It doesn't even surprise the market anymore, but I suppose I think the Asians actually did enjoy some of that. First Japan and now China, massive liquidity injection is happening, okay? We're getting this news all the time. It's supposed to be bullish and whatever, but these alts are still doing nothing. And any updates to our days without changing the tariff policy, sir?
There's no change in policy today, but Trump came out with some official tweets saying that he was quite happy with that 50% EU tariff, but if they're going to play ball, that's fine. We can come to a deal. And if not, I'm happy with the tariff. But they're now jumping at a deal and they're trying to make appointments and they're eager now, when they were dragging their feet before because he rang their bell.
Okay. Well, deal incoming. Does the market actually care anymore? I mean, that's the question. They must be so annoyed by all this stuff.
I mean, the market cares every time he tweets that there's some new tariff coming out, right? That 50% last Friday killed us. So it still cares, unfortunately.
I think the crypto market, yeah, the S&P just seems to shrug this stuff off. Like
not as much, yeah.
Yeah, so Trump media announces $2.5 billion treasury deal, Bitcoin treasury deal. What's the story here? What's going on
we
here?
Spiked on this news. That's where we had that pop first thing as soon as U.S. opened, and then they went and took it right back and just chopped everybody up right out the gate as usual. But yeah, he's creating a Bitcoin reserve here for the Trump media, right?
Okay.
So well, lots of companies are doing that. Cantor Fitzgerald's doing the same thing.
So, I mean, that is quite a big spend. So that's pretty solid. Okay. And now Japan, this is the big news that we're talking about. Is this just like, I mean, the market just doesn't seem to pay too much attention. Is it going to be slowly, and then all of a sudden, are they going to rinse us, or are they just going to shrug this thing off? Japan has officially lost its status as the world's top creditor for the first time in 34 years. Okay. That's not honor. Okay. I don't think they're enjoying that.
It's moved to Germany now.
Japan's 30 yield a preview. Is this a preview of what's about to happen to the US 30-year yield? So everything is stacking up. Like some of these macro things are not looking good, and we can see gold is looking bullish. The S&P is actually looking bearish, and BTC on the daily also looking a little bit bearish. But do we get one more pump here? Are we going to hit that 130 that everybody is talking about on BTC? So guys, the signs are here at the moment that things are not looking very sexy. Japan's bond market liquidity is currently dropped to 2008 Lehman crisis levels. Are we about to experience another financial crisis?
I was reading about this morning a bit, actually, talking about because the yields are going up so much in Japan, that we could have domestic investors here in the U.S. start to head that way for the higher yield, pulling money out of the U.S., and that's just bad news. So, yeah, this may not end well. Let's just get us a little pump before that all happens.
Well, S&P doing its thing. Okay, so guys, S&P's open. Now, after all the news the last couple of days, I mean, we were expecting drama, and the S&P is just gearing up. Look at this thing. It's printing a green candle today. They're obviously hungry to be back investing, and now the S&P is starting to push higher. So in terms of my original plan, it's unchanged for me. I still want to see bang. I want to see that all-time high. I want to see this divergence print here for us, and then I think it's over. Then I think it's going to fall over. And with that is going to come BTC and the altcoin market. I think everything is going to fall over once we hit these levels. So we're going to wait and see. Obviously, we'll play it by ear. I'm here every single day. We'll track this as it goes. But right now, that is kind of the view that I'm seeing at the moment. So not looking great. And then S&P, big support down here, 5,650. So let things play out a little bit. Now, there's some big news here about Tesla. Cantor Fitzgerald reaffirms overweight on Tesla. See strong long-term potential. Okay, so the guys are back in on Tesla, lots of interest, and we can see 𝗵𝗵𝗍𝗍. He's a TA man. Okay, he's showing some pretty big bull flags on the daily here, so he's watching this super closely. But for me, my view remains the same. Okay, and now obviously Tesla is pumping today on this news and this information, and obviously everyone is trying to get long now on Tesla at the moment. So same opinion for me. We can see the reversal signs are there. S&P, everything's looking overheated at the moment, and this is the big zone I'm looking at for Tesla, 350 to 380. We are pushing into the short zone. Was this the news we wanted to get that final push on Tesla before we get some kind of reversal? So as we start working our way in here, I'm going to start working on my Tesla short. We're going to build this one slowly, and my exit plan for me is going to be a close above this 399-400 region. Okay, so somewhere around there is going to be the exit plan. Again, laddering in slowly, and then if we do get a situation here on Tesla and it starts rolling over, we're going to play a very simple game. So you might see potentially something like this, unless obviously the S&P could rip and everything could go wrong. But what I'm looking for there, is some kind of reversal, bang, and then we can start adding on the way down, and then we're going to look for that push into 260. Okay, so that is my current game plan on Tesla. That is how I'm seeing it at the moment. That is obviously my ideal scenario. I'd love to see that unfold there for us, and we can catch that short on BTCC. Another one I'm super interested in. Also, look at this, overcooked as well. I'm just waiting for this divergence, bang, bang, and then we might get a short here on NVIDIA leading into earnings. Remember, we've got earnings coming for NVIDIA, close of business tomorrow. So I'm really looking for a hard pump leading into that. It's going to be super interesting. Obviously, any orders we lock in on BTCC, remember, if the earnings come out after market and there's a gap down or a gap up and you're the wrong way, you can get absolutely rinsed. So we're obviously playing with fire here. Okay, remember that. But if we get a strong enough move in the next couple of days, I'm going to start looking for a short on NVIDIA leading into that earnings, hopefully about 142, 140, somewhere in that region. Now, remember, they always estimate an 8% dip or an 8% pump on NVIDIA when these earnings come out. So it could get super spicy. But for me, pump into earnings, for me, high probability we can sell that. Okay, so that is what I'm looking for there. And then in terms of BTCC, still riding in the most boring trade ever. Microsoft still sitting in that short. We'll let that play out. And then gold, I've only got one order hit so long. I'm going to take you through that gold trade. So my first gold order, look at that, James, absolute bottom of that move. So I've got 3 gold orders waiting. And here's the thing with the gold trade. Okay, so basically, if gold is going to pump, you're probably going to see crypto and the S&P find a little bit of weakness. If gold's going to dump, you might find crypto and stuff do really well. So today, when I dropped that gold setup in Hackers, I said, look, it's a nice hedge play here. But unfortunately, if this gold trade actually pumps and works and plays out, we might be sweating in a couple of these other altcoins. Okay, so if you're interested in a gold play, here is the setup. And that was Microsoft. Okay, here's gold. So here's the bigger picture zone. Remember, this was the big short one yesterday, 3370, and that one now has rolled over, and now we are zooming in. Okay, we're looking at lower time frame gold scalp zones and things like that. And if we go back in time to the higher time frame, you can see the massive level is here, 3,250. That's the big one that we might come and test. But in terms of some degen plays and some scalpy plays, I couldn't resist when I saw this gold setup here, because there's potential for a possible head and shoulders situation there, and then a little bit more downside on gold. Okay, so I am looking potentially at something like that. So for me, the entry was 3,285 down to about 3,275, anywhere in that type of region. Looking for a short-term move on gold, really short-term. You can see the 2 hour is starting to reverse, and all I want to see, you know, maybe some divergence or some kind of pump now on this 2 hour, and we'll see where it takes us. But most likely 3,320, maybe a little bit higher than that, 3,330, those types of levels on gold. Okay, current risk here at the moment is 0.5%. So it's nice that the risk is always so low on gold, but obviously you have to trade size if you want to make it substantial. So we're going to let this thing play out. Let's see if gold starts dropping. For me, it probably means we get a little more pump there in the markets. And then if it bounces, just look out. There might be a little bit of pain. Now, this is a legend, okay? And I think the odds are stacking up that this man might actually come on my show in the next couple of days. There's some people trying to talk to him at the moment for me. So this man's got the biggest balls in history, and I actually want to see the size of them. I want to see them in real life. So I'm trying to get him on the show. We want to talk about him. But here's a guy at the moment. He's busy counter trading this James Wynn guy at the moment. I don't know. So this guy's going against everything he does. He says on the May 24th, trader, whatever this wallet number, started shorting BTC and ETH when James was long. Then he went the opposite for all these other positions. So there's a guy, they're comparing the two things here. Now you can see what's going on there. This guy's a 1 week P&L, $3 million. He's cooking. Okay, look, he had a bad week, but we know this James Wynn guy has absolutely killed it. So when he's actually killed it, he smashed it, he's made tons. Anyway, but the man's got big kahunas. We definitely got to give him a prize for that. Okay, and then in terms of BTC on the daily, well, once again, we still haven't lost our super bullish first line of support. That's our 107 to 106 zone, and until we lose that level, we can't cry. Okay, we can't be that bearish. Remember though, if you're trading high leverage and Bitcoin drops down here onto support, these alts are going to get rinsed. They're going to get smashed. So just be ready. If you are trading too high leverage, pay attention here, because we are still pretty bullish as long as we are holding this 106, 107 zone, you know, not uncomfortable here with BTC until we start losing those levels. Now, obviously, we know the longer we float around here, the more bearish prints we are getting at the moment. So this is something we need to pay attention to as well. And if we do print a quick, sharp new high, we're probably going to have a situation where we start getting more spider webs in terms of divergences, and things start looking a little bit more bearish on BTC, okay, which leads me into that S&P into all-time highs and a possible rejection. Okay, so there, hopefully am I sounding too bearish? Am I really sounding too bearish? Let me know if you feel that I'm mega bear here, James. Is it bad?
I don't think so. I think we're gonna, my personal feeling, just my feeling here, is that we get a pump next couple of days, we hit your 112s or so and dump at the end of the conference. That's just what I'm feeling here.
Fair call. Okay, guys, let's look at a couple of fun things here. Okay, so BTC we know, Lickies we know. Okay, Ben Cowan, I'm just leaving this here. He's sending us the altcoins to hell. Okay, don't forget he's sending the altcoins to hell. In terms of lower time frame stuff, 4 hour time frame. Panda, can you immediately? Is Panda here? Panda, when entry? Where's Panda? Panda, are you here, bro? Okay.
He was in the chat just a little while ago. I haven't seen him since.
Panda, tell him I need a short setup on WCT and QNT urgently in the chats. Okay, will you DM him? Okay, so we're going to look for a short setup here from Panda in Hackers. He's going to see if he can get something together for us. WCT and QNT look like possible shorts here. The rest of the stuff looks pretty neutral at the moment. So undecided here. I'd say the tokens above the neutral zone, you know, they might be able to push up a little bit more, and things are a little bit choppy. We're going to look at these alts. You're going to see it's been a bit of a mixed bag at the moment, but I think these outliers we can play with. If they're big enough, we might be able to get a little bit of action. Now, let's talk dominance. Now, breaking news, Bitcoin dominance. Look at that. Bearish divergence print, bang. Okay, so that is a good start for these altcoins. That could be our first sign of a little bit of weakness here, and maybe we're going to get a little drift lower on this dominance chart. So that is a great start for us. I do like the look of this rejection candle that we had here today. The only thing we need to worry about now is altcoin traders. Alt danger, 50-day moving average. Look at that. We've highlighted it. We are sitting on it right now. How is it possible that these guys can bounce the price off a magical red line? Okay, how's this? Okay, so here we go. Big support on the 50-day MA. When we lose that, I think we get some alt pumping. Okay, I think the alts are going to rip. But until we lose that, guys, a little bit careful on the leverage, a little bit careful on things, because this thing could launch off that 50-day. Remember, every time we've landed on this 50-day, except this one occasion, they've pushed this thing higher off that. Okay, so what we want to see is we want to lose. Okay, we want to lose this 50-day, and then we're going to have a little bit of fun on these altcoins. Okay, PMG George talking about USDT dominance again, and he seems to be our USDT dominance local player here, and it's doing what we said yesterday. And yesterday I said I was looking for divergence on this USDT dominance. What does that look like? It means this thing rolls over and then prints that higher low, and then we get another bullish divergence print. And for that to play out, we're probably going to see a situation where USDT dominance drops back into this support. And right now it is starting to play out for us at the moment. So just look out for that. If dominance does drop a little bit lower, we just got to be careful here. This is a big support zone, 4.4, and that could be the trigger where the market then reverses and dominance starts pushing higher. And then we basically have to change our undies while things start falling over. Okay. And have you found Panda yet? Is he around?
His comments aren't coming through YouTube for some reason. It happens to him all the time. I don't know why. So I'm DMing him here. We'll see if he can get us something.
Okay, Panda, when injury. Okay, okay. So there's USDT dominance. Watch the support, but so far it is actually listening. It's playing out to what we wanted yesterday. And reminder, guys, let's talk about our favorite shitcoin, ETH. Your wife and family do not know your entire net worth is in this man's hands. Okay, this is who's running the show. If you are stacked on ETH. Okay, now I've broken ETH down into a degen play for you guys, and now this is ETH on the 1 hour. And I was asked this morning, is it worth longing ETH? And at the time, obviously, I try to work out the risk for one of our hackers members, and at the time, the long was he was looking for a long sort of round about that region. And when you start looking at where big resistance is and where big support is, you got to do the maths and you got to decide for yourself. Is it worth taking on risk if your downside is X% and it's the same as the move to the upside? So for me, there was no trade on ETH this morning at that type of level. Ideally, I wanted to see that dip into this 2,580. So in terms of short-term support for ETH traders, 2,580 is where it's at for me. That is going to be your big support level that you're watching. 2,580, that is the big one. Then what do? Let's say the market pumps a little bit. I've got a massive danger zone for you guys up here. This is our 200-day MA and major horizontal. So I'm expecting no change here. I am expecting a reversal on ETH if we pump into that zone. So look out for the fake out. Look out for the pump into that zone. Let's just see what happened last time ETH printed that reversal at the highs. What did we get? We got an overbought, a red reversal triangle, and a VWAP, bang, down. What did we get here? We got an overbought, a red reversal triangle, and a VWAP print, bang, down. Okay, right now, so far, we've hit the OB and we've had the reversal print, and we haven't got our VWAP reversal just yet. So when we see that, I think the odds are going to start stacking in our favor that ETH is going to reverse. So just look out for that. All I'm doing here is simply using history as a guide to tell us a story. And again, we can trade these areas and we trade these ranges until they break. At some point, they will break. Can it be this time? Well, who are we to decide? Who are we to speculate that this is the moment it breaks the range? But what we can do afterwards is react. So if it does break through the range, we're going to have tons of long opportunities from that 200-day moving average at around 2,700. So just be patient. There's no rush here. If you're trying to long ETH, remember, you're longing ETH at a danger zone. If we break the danger zone, cool. Then it's on, because we're going to use the old danger zone as our bullish zone. That is going to be our buy zone later on. Okay, so we're going to use that with confidence later if we do break it well. Okay, and I see Sean says Panda's too busy DJing 300x plays. It's disgusting, guys. It's disgusting. And so, yeah, Hazy's looking for 𝗬𝗰𝗟 entry. So I hear 𝗬𝗰𝗟 is starting to recover. So there's obviously a couple of things going on for 𝗬𝗰𝗟, and maybe we need to take a quick look at 𝗬𝗰𝗟 and just see what is cracking with that guy. So we're going to go through that now. Then in terms of what is going on with me at the moment, so Sol, no changes. We are back fighting our 200-day MA again. Okay, are we pushing into ape levels here? If we break it, it's exactly exactly the same as ETH, okay? That is resistance until we break that zone. When we break that zone, I'm going to go to Ape Town again, okay? I tried Ape Town last time. I did a $12,000 profit round trip on Sol, and that was that fake out above that 200-day MA. If we go again, I'm going again, okay? We're going to put our foot down again, and we're going to start adding on Sol because I'm looking for 219, 220 if it's going to go. But look at this, exactly the same story as ETH right now. What is Sol doing? Pushing into major resistance. There's our 200-day MA. Where have you seen this story before? So look out, okay? We've got a lot of work to do here on Sol. We've got to blow the 200, and then we got to hold that as support. Every time we've gone through there, they've rinsed us, okay? Maybe third time lucky, but we can't say for sure. So I'm sitting in a Sol position here. If it blows that area, we're going to Ape Town. We're going to hit it hard, and we're going to go for that 219 again, and hopefully that is going to be the moment then for Sol. But until then, I'm going to keep my foot off the gas. And in terms of the oscillator, 8 hour is starting to turn up, okay? So that could be signs for one more pump coming. But all I can suggest here, again, guys, be super careful with leverage and all these things. Matty, yeah, bro, this is the zone, okay? To 180 to 180, 187, that's a danger zone for Sol. And then 219, guys, that's a big level there for me. 219, obviously a little bit lower down. You can see there's a couple of areas here, 205, 208. But 219 looks like a high percentage zone there for me on Sol at the very least for some kind of reversal. Okay. Let's talk Sol, friends. In terms of dupe, I've said here 2 short zones, but I've actually started a hedge dupe short here. And this was earlier on that BTC pump that we saw into that 110, 800. That was my trigger for me to start looking at a couple of hedge shorts. And dupe is now pushed into short zone number 1. So this is our second visit to this area. Can it go higher? Yes, of course. But what I'm looking at here at the moment is a possible bearish divergence print here. And what I mean by that is you can see the price is going higher, and we want to see that oscillator turn over and go lower, okay? And that tells us that things are potentially bearish. So in terms of finding a nice hedge play zone, dupe is in one of them now. If we get another brilliant market pump, that's amazing. But then we've got another high percentage short zone at 73 to 75 for dupe. That is a high percentage, high reaction zone for me. 200-day MA, order blocks, VWAP, 382, horizontal. I'm definitely going to try a short up there, okay, if we get a pump. I can assure you that much. Yes, sir.
And is DMing me. Weird. He's typing in the YouTube comments. They don't show on our end, but he's sending me screenshots on his end. Anyway, said to read this to you. QNT's got another 4.5% range to wick. Shorting now would be a degen move. Either you hit 115 entry or 115.5, or you enter now with 115 as the stop loss. It's a 4.5% stop loss, though.
Okay, so 4.5% risk. If you want to play the outlier, that's courtesy of Panda. He's one of our traders in Chart Hackers, and that's QNT. So it's one of the outliers there. So if you want to look, it's about a 4.5% risk if you want to take on a short there. But you can see, this thing typically works relatively well as a guide, and it's fun to catch the outliers on these types of things. So if you want to give that a go, that's courtesy of Panda. Okay, so just finishing up on dupe. So if you want to short dupe with me as a hedge play, 66 is pretty much your close above that 66. Then I would say this thing is bullish again. So 66 would be the safest stop zone for me, okay? And then you can see what's going on here. Okay, so we long BTC. I caught that pump into 110. What did I get there? 110,500. Okay, we got the short there. Let's see if that is going to play out. You can see my BTC long is 150,000. It's up 4.6. I've still got that link long running. I've still got 𝗵𝗵𝗄, and I've got this 𝗵𝗵𝗄 set up for you guys that I dropped in Hackers. It's still touch and go at the moment. We'll see if it plays out. Injective little scalp long at the top there. Let's see if there's going to be more power. Popcat, let's see. There's the dupe short, $27,000 short there. Brett, that's still the short from yesterday. Sol, you can see I'm burning along at the moment. If we start getting action, I'm going to double the size of that. Blur, that was a short courtesy of Chaos earlier today. I think he dropped it in Chart Hackers as well. Enemy, that playing around from yesterday, and then Cake. That was a Cake short from one of our Chart Hackers members, and then I posted it as in my setups channel there. So let's talk about Cake. Why the news? Why did this thing pump? And why is it so fun to short Cake? Okay, so Pancake Swap burned $45 million in Cake. Now, I don't know, what is their market cap, James? Do you know? I mean, is that even substantial? I don't even know if it's that big. I think the market typically, overreacts to these things. And we have seen in the past, we get news events on cake, and you get these amazing pumps, but then they're always relatively shortable. You can see the moves and the swings you get on this cake. So today looked no different. Okay, we had a beautiful pump, and basically it moved into one of two major rejection zones. So I just want to clean this up for you. You can see these big order blocks here in the way. Yes, sir.
Market cap's almost 1 billion. It's like 900 million. So 45 is not that big.
45 million is not, it's not that big. Okay, so in terms of rejection zones, it was one of two areas. And when obviously we got that pump into a nice order block there, so that was the opportunity to grab a hedge cake short. And I'm now parking in that. Let's see if that's going to play out. In terms of the oscillators, you can see they're heavily overcooked here, and I am looking for some kind of reversal. And the lower the time frame you go, the more bearish they do start looking. Look at that there, lots of reversal prints, things like that in our oscillator. So nice pressure here to the upside on cake. And in terms of looking for a new entry, guys, well, I think it's really simple, because typically what happens with these things is that they come back and they visit that wick. So you might find a situation now today where they start pumping it higher and everyone gets excited and they come and fill some of that wick, and then they just dump this thing afterwards. So if you're looking for a cake entry, 2.86 up to about 2.94, that region over there looks like a reasonable zone if you want to look for a short there on cake on the second bite. And then if you want to exit plan, 2.95. If you close above 2.95, that is where you most likely are going to look to turn a little bit more bullish. Okay, so look out, 2.95, that's basically where you take lickies. Okay, 2.95, that's going to be the exit zone. But try, if it does pump higher, keep your entry as tight as possible in that zone. Remember, the whole point of getting a tight entry or laddering into your entry is to lower your risk as much as possible. You don't want to go out the gates on 20x leverage with big size, and then all of a sudden the price moves 2% and then you're going mad because you're underwater. So rather have a wider stop in a bigger solid area and ladder in slowly. Small size, low leverage. Just do it slowly and don't put yourself under pressure. If you're looking at a trade where you're feeling stressed out all the time, your position is probably too big. So rather just keep it smaller. Remember, trading can be fun. Don't make it a stressful situation for yourself. Okay, so cake, that is what we're looking at there. Then in terms of virtual, fuck, this thing kills me. This absolutely kills me, okay, to my core. And the reason being, I gave you guys the zone yesterday. Okay, this was the zone. Okay, possible bounce here, tie in with the oscillator. Okay, what do the Asians do? They drop it in that area, little stop hunt just underneath, grab everyone, and then they rip this thing back up and off she goes. So now in terms of virtual, my main target, remember the target, James, 263 that I was hanging on for dear life for. Why did it happen? The time I closed it, then it's pumped even higher. Okay, so off she goes, and I closed my virtual long over there, thought I was very smart, and then obviously missed that opportunity, and now this thing is ripping. So 2.63, guys, that is the next major target there for virtual. I'd be super careful up there. So if it does pump into that zone, that for me is the first big reversal zone. Okay, so watch out there, and you can see the signs are coming. The signs are coming here in terms of that oscillator. So be careful up there. 2.63, I'd be super careful. Okay. Ridke said, we said let it run, and then the next day it was still active, and then I think after that pump I closed it. But I let it run, and it went down to, I think it went down to positive $1,000. Then it pumped back up to positive 5.8, and then I closed it. And I thought, fuck, I'm not going to go around again. That would have been my third. Okay, so in terms of upside, 2.63, guys. Now, in terms of bullish levels and bullish support, let's build a fresh zone for you guys, just so you get an idea as to where this thing can go. So we'll just keep it super simple here. We'll play this local area, and you can see immediately you've got a mini banger. Look at that, VWAP 236, bang. Okay, that zone for me is starting to make sense. Okay, so your first big area there, 2.34 on virtual. Okay, 2.34 is where it's at. That's your first realistic bounce zone. And then there's a proper banger here as well. Geez, you got VWAPs there too. Sure, okay, two very good zones. Okay, those are great areas there. Bang, bang. Those two zones make a lot of sense to me. So at this point in time, if this is the rejection, which I don't think it is, I think it goes higher. If that is the rejection, that's a possible bounce zone there. And then that guy's a possible bounce zone there. Okay, so watch those areas, 2.34 2.25. Watch those two zones. Dead Fred, I'm happy for you, sir. I'm very happy for you. I'm a little bit jealous, not going to lie. A little bit jealous that he got that full pumpage there. Now, let's talk WLD. What we used to call this thing wild, a world coin. The DEX continues to grow. Okay, remember, these guys have got tons of investment now, and there's still people saying this such as shitcoin, and they wanted 1 billion users, and they've only got, 50 million, and they're 950 million users short, whatever the story. But these guys are raising money, okay? People are putting money in. And in terms of WLD, high conviction zone for me, where is a high conviction long? For me, 1.24, that type of level there. Okay, so worth the wait for me. You can see at the moment we are putting pressure on this horizontal, and you might get a situation where it just squeezes down there. Bang. Okay, so that is my ideal scenario on WLD, 1.24. And then current support, if you're looking for scalps, well, you can see what's happening, and then you're obviously going to dial in on much lower timeframes, but 1.35, that is your current support. So you might find every time you dip into that zone, you get a bounce, and then at some point they might just drop you. Okay, so look out for that. That is obviously your danger area there for you guys. So 1.35 and then 1.237. Now remember, guys, everything I talk about here on the show, it's all in the show description. All you need to do is click on the show. So click on the actual show, there it is, and click on more. And all these links are here for you guys. From my accelerator school to chart hackers is here for you guys. Even the daily candle, if you want free alpha from our traders sent to your email, it's literally free. The daily candle is there. Just sign up there. And then all the exchanges, BTCC, you want to trade stocks with me, it's there for you guys. 𝗶𝗆, I'm going to show you that now. All the links are sitting here for you guys. Okay, so just jump in there if you want to have a crack at anything that you see there. Okay, so WLD, those are the main swing long zones for me. That makes sense. And then let's talk what's going on here in 𝗶𝗆. Now, S, I've tried again. I'm going to take you through S. I'm going to take you through a higher time frame and a lower time frame setup on S. I want to tell you why I'm so obsessed with trying to get this one right. Cardano is still from yesterday. Zcash is a short from, when was that Zcash? Must have been Sunday. I think Sunday night. Still waiting for that to fall over. I think I've got that chart for you. And 𝗵𝗆 is a DGen scalp long that I gave today, looking for a move into the US Open. Now, obviously, they gave us a mini pump, but not enough. And we're going to look at that. We're going to look at that 𝗵𝗆 now as well for you guys. Okay, so let's talk Sonic. Active addresses reached new all-time high. But remember, this price has been selling off because one of the big market makers was dumping all their stock. Now, I'm assuming that sale is done, and I'm assuming we can get back to business on this S. Okay, so the first thing you do after something has been abused like that is you zoom out. Okay, I'm looking at the daily, and in terms of like higher time frame, this thing's cooking. Okay, this is a this is a bounce now or cut it off zone. Okay, this is literally when we get to use this, and we don't get to, I don't use this lightly. Okay, but S is now officially in the bounce now or cut it off region. So 0.432 is a big zone for us. And you can see the invalidation, which means the lickies is pretty much clean. It's so simple here, because if you close underneath the trend, the 786 and that horizontal, there's a very good chance that this thing is going to drop and come and fill that zone over there. Okay, so there's a lot more downside if it loses this area. In fact, this thing can drop another 15%. Okay, so you don't want to stick around too long. But in terms of having a crack here, if there is going to be a short-term move, you can see we're busy waiting for this daily to reverse at the moment. But in general, we're in quite a big zone. So anything down to 438, down to about 428, anywhere in that region is starting to make sense for me, at least to have a crack at some kind of bounce play here on this S. Okay, so if we hold that trend and things like that, then we can expect some kind of move. So your first move is to 48, your next move is to 51, and then your final move is probably up to about 61, give or take. And you can see this can just be simply the range high or whatever you want to call it. Look at that, bang. Okay, so if we just follow this pattern here, we might get a situation where this thing wants to trade higher, so it might just dip here and then start making its way up. Okay, so look out for something like that on S, and that is the higher time frame stuff. That is the guys that are trading low leverage. That is the guys that are trading spot. They can see and identify these zones, and then you can see there's a possible swing trade coming for you guys. Now for the degens, you got to play slightly more lower time frames, and sometimes you take a couple of cracks on these things to get it going. But what we do know is once we get momentum on these things, we catch up really quickly and we can really start increasing size. So in terms of what's happened today, you can see S has had a little bit of pumpage and then it had a little bit of dumpage. So it pumped into our trend. You can see that danger zone there, and this was our second danger zone in that area. So what do we want to see now in terms of short-term traders? All we want to see is S hold this 444 region. So if they come back again, you want to see it hold this 444 and then start pushing a little bit higher. So these are your typical nibble zones for the higher leverage, the more degen type of traders. Remember, the more relaxed guys, you're looking at stuff like that. Okay, you're too busy at work. You've got other stuff going on. This is your game. Okay, you want to look at these types of things. You can see a 5.5%, 6% stop loss, those types of things. Then you already know, if that trade fails, you already know where your next zone is. You know where your next buy zone is. The degens. Okay, this is your stuff. Okay, 444 is your first main level of support, and then a little bit lower down you can have your degen backup zone is going to be this guy over here at 435. Okay, so there's possible 2 bites at the cherry for you guys. Okay, so look out for that to hold. You can see I'm still sitting in that now from this morning. I've been trying to catch scraps on this thing, and we're floating around now. We got up to $10,000. Let's see if we can get a little bit more action on that one. Okay, so there's your game plan. Upside targets are 46 and 47 for now for the degens. The higher time frame trades, well, 61 could be a possibility there for you guys. Okay, let's talk farts, and ascends to the #1 in social engagement among meme coins. No surprises there. Popcat and Fartcat and everything. And my heck, I've got you, bro. Here we go. Coming in hot for you here. And let's see. Let's take a look at Fartcoin. So once again, it's bounced off our quantum reactor. Now, yesterday I was saying not ready for a new fart trade until I get a substantial reversal. But look what happened there in the dead of the night. We print bullish divergence. And off Fartcoin goes again off one of our hot zones. Look at that. Quantum reactor, 618, VWAP, everything. This hot zone indicator must have been absolutely lit up with eggplants last night when it dropped into that. So remember, if you see bullish divergence printing on one of the hot zones, that's like a moneymaker button. There's a very high odds in your favor that that thing could start playing out. So just remember that for future hot zone with bullish divergence on a 2-hour or 4-hour, that's when you get a little bit excited. And Glenn Goldberg's in the house. Hello, sir. Good to see you here again. I haven't seen you in a couple of days. And can somebody pull his finger there for him in the chats there? And let's see if you can help him. Okay, so guys, in terms of Fartcoin, you can see, let's break it down. There's no fresh trade for me now. Obviously missed that move in the Asia session, but you can see, let me just take the hot zone indicator off here, bang, and you can see what's going on. Fartcoin is currently chopping around in a mini range. So if you are looking for some action, what is interesting here, you can see immediately the VWAP is your immediate resistance. Look at that. Every time we hit that VWAP, we're rejecting. And in terms of support, look at that. You've got VWAP and quantum reactor support holding you up. Okay, so right now you can see there's a fart trade. Every time you push up there and every time you drop in there, there seems to be a trade until one of these directions is going to break. Okay, so one of these things is going to play out at some point. But in terms of fart at the moment, shorts at 147, longs at 135, pretty much where you want to play it. And if you got the oscillator, guys, use this. It's a nice weapon. Upside will show divergence, downside will show divergence, and it's really going to assist you with your trading. I was actually saying in the accelerator workshop today, this oscillator from the accelerator school, guys, it's absolute gun, this thing. I'm so happy I have this thing in my life at the moment. And if you want to learn about that oscillator and everything I do, well, here's the accelerator school. And we've just finished workshop 2 of the current cohort. And I taught everybody my strategy on passing those bit-funded challenges. So remember, guys, anyone who does or completes the school is going to get a bit-funded challenge. So make sure you have signed up and make sure you're ready for the next workshops as well. And that link is in the chart, the show description there for you guys. Okay. Okay. So farts we've done. You can see the little rangy trade we're looking at there at the moment. Let's talk Peppy. And again, the power of candle closes, guys, and why I emphasize all the time, when we give these stop zones, look for candle closes. this is the exact reason. Now, obviously, they can still come back and end you. But the point is, imagine how many stops you could have taken if you took this trade here, stopped out, take it again, stopped out, stopped out. You could have taken 3 stops, where I've sat in this trade the whole day, literally the whole day, using these levels and waiting for the candle closes before I make decisions. And you can see right now it's working in my favor at the moment. Now, obviously, they can come and end you and they can melt the market down, and that obviously adds more risk. But in terms of trying to be patient in a trade, don't be in too big a size where you feel too stressed out when you're at your stop zone. Okay, be prepared to cut manually if you are able to watch your trade, and just use these areas as a guide. So in terms of 𝗵𝗵, you can see I'm still long from earlier today, so there's no changes to that setup. This is exactly what I was looking for. Pump out, retest, and then some kind of push higher. So if the trade is going to play out, this is now your low. We have our low. 1377 on 𝗵𝗵. That's our marker. Okay, then your backup stop zone, I wrote here 2 reasonable stop zones. Okay, your next one is a close under 136. So mark these areas: 1377, 136. That is for the degens. Okay, degen traders. This is a 30-minute chart. Can you believe it? Okay, so 1377 and 136. Those are your possible exit zones. All you need to do is survive, okay, this oscillator until it prints the next reversal. So we already picked up today that we turned bearish on 𝗵𝗵 after we broke out, and then we knew we had to just sit in this thing and survive the chop. So if we can survive this chop now and wait for this 30-minute to reset down here, then I think the trade is on. Okay, so just going to be patient, really. You just got to be patient here, and obviously manage your position sizing with how you go about it. Okay, so I'm parking in 𝗵𝗵. You can see why. I've explained the reasons. And then in terms of, you know, where it can go if there is momentum, 144, 151, and 158. That's pretty much where it goes for me. And Mr. Bull, where do I get your divergence oscillator? Sir, you get it in the accelerator course. Sign up to the course. There's a deal there for you guys with everything we do, including some chart hackers access and all those types of things if you're going to do the course. And reminder that Hot Zone Indicator is nearly ready, and everybody in the school and everybody in chart hackers is going to get a version of the Hot Zone Indicator, and then there's going to be a premium version coming as well for you guys, and the hackers guys will be able to buy it at an extreme discount. Okay, so that is around the corner. Okay, and Alex O'Teague says survive is the name of the game. I concur with that, and you want to survive because we know we get these big green days and then we cooking. Okay, now let's talk Zcash. Why is this so shorty at the moment? So this thing has been very interesting. Whenever the market dumps, Zcash seems to go up, and when the market pumps, Zcash seems to get a little bit bearish. I've noticed that while sitting in this trade. So Zcash could be an interesting one. This was courtesy of DJ and Dave. I think on Sunday on the show, we've printed another bearish divergence print, and this thing is screaming bearish things at me at the moment. So there is a backup zone. There is a problem zone up here. So I do have my eyes on this. That is why I'm not aping too hard just yet. We can see up to 62. This thing could potentially pump before it falls over. So I just want to mark this area here for you guys. Up to 62, that is a danger zone. 57 to 62. But in terms of this thing turning bearish on the 12-hour, it's looking tired. At some point, this thing is going to come back down, and it's going to come back down to this trend. You can see we got that rising trend. At some point, it's going to make its way down here. Okay, that is kind of what I'm looking for on the Zcash. Now, we've been sitting in this thing for a couple of days. I mean, we're really waiting. I've added little bits, but nothing big yet on this guy, waiting for some direction on this thing. So if you are still in the Zcash situation, your support zone's 50. So that is going to be your first target that you're going to be watching. So look out at 50 there, bang. And then your next potential target is going to be 46. Okay, those types of levels there. Okay, you can see those areas there. So those are the downside targets. Anyone who's still sitting in that. If you are looking for a fresh one, well, just be careful. The big zone for me is this box up there. Okay, so just look out. That is the extra big one there for us. Now, what's going on? Custy Girl says, when Doge pump? I actually never look at Doge. Actually, I find Doge quite annoying. I kind of like Brett, 𝗵𝗵, Popcat. Those, they seem to just deliver more. I don't know, James, what's your view?
Yeah, I don't even look at Doge anymore. I used to pay attention to it, but it has just been kind of a nothing burger for so long. I just stopped.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what it's been doing. I never look.
Well, here's something. You want to pump a Dino coin, okay? There might be news coming on Litecoin. Don't ask me what, because I actually don't even know. I was just told there might be news coming on Litecoin, okay? And then 𝗂𝗍, funnily enough, unbeknownst, he didn't know anything about this, messages me today and says, check this for your show. So this is courtesy of 𝗂𝗍 in Chart Hackers. And he sent me a Litecoin long. And I've taken a look at this and I've said, okay, there's a degen Litecoin option here. And then there's like a swing Litecoin option here. So there's two plays for you guys. If you want to trade a Dino coin, okay, if you want to trade a shit coin, and you know 𝗂𝗍 loves his dinos, okay, so what we're looking at here, option 1 for Litecoin, entry now, okay, exit, closed under 92.5, exit 1, okay, that's the degen play. Degen play for Litecoin, okay, there you go. Then the swing play for Litecoin is buy a little bit now. Okay, I'm going to highlight this here. You buy a little bit now, 96. You have another order at 94. You have another order at 91.5. And you have the kicker, you have the banger at 88.5. Maybe just a bit higher. Call it 80, call it 89. Okay, 89. That's the swing trade. Okay, so what can happen here? A little bit of up, down, and then we get a sell-off in the market. Bang, picks up your orders. Boom. Okay, that is what you're looking for. So 50-day MA, VWAP, horizontal, macro 382. I'm telling you, 90's a banger. Okay, 90's a banger for Litecoin. 96, so-so. Okay, so-so. And well, there you go. Some ETF decision. Okay, so if you want to trade, a Dino, it could run. Okay, it could run if that ETF news comes out. 35% pump potentially on Litecoin. Degens, you know what your exit plan is. Swing traders, you know what to do. Okay, nice slow play there. Have your orders waiting. Don't stress about it. Let it come to you. Trust the big levels, and the big levels for me is this 90 zone. I'm telling you, VWAP 50-day MA just underneath that at 88, and that could provide you a little bit of a kicker there at the bottom. Okay, so there's Litecoin for you guys. Then update on Nakamoto Games, 𝗂𝗍's biggest shitcoin, and it's already up. I like it, but it's not high enough for me to actually go on X and say, see 𝗂𝗍, I told you. So I'm just waiting for it to go a little bit higher. But anyone who got Nakamoto Games, you are 5% up on the shitcoin from yesterday. And there are still major reversal prints in play. And my target is 43.6 and 47.6 as potential upsides there on Nakamoto Games. Okay, so there you go. That thing is cooking. Popcat traders, well, I gave you the entry, didn't I? Look at that, bang, straight into that higher low yesterday. And at the same time, there was a divergence print there on the oscillator. Okay, so hopefully some of you guys got that in the dead of the night. I was sleeping, guys. I'm actually so salty about virtual Popcat and some of these others. I'm actually very upset. Okay, so 452 was our entry zone there on Popcat. Beautiful dip plus some divergence. So that thing is looking okay. And then in terms of danger for Popcat, same as virtual, you've got big resistance. So Popcat 0.498. Look out there, danger. If that thing keeps ripping, 535, okay, is the next target, and then you're going to use this 498 as your support. Okay, so you could get some more action here. So 498 and 535, watch that there. And then final Dino coin. This was also from 𝗂𝗍 yesterday. Here's Cardano, also mixed bag at the moment. So I'm sitting in it on Blowfin and just waiting. It's been relatively flat, up, down, whatever the market. Cardano's actually been it's been okay. So in terms of what I'm looking at, well, you can see a little bit double toppy, possibly a little bit bearish. I'm not loving this at the moment as well. We've got some divergence. So yeah, I'm not loving it, but if there is going to be one more BTC pump, I think they're going to finish the job here, and they are going to send it up to one of these levels before they come and they dump this thing lower. So in terms of targets, 784 and 79 potentially, but we really need energy now. That needs to break soon. Okay, like literally, they need to push this thing quickly. In terms of BTC, yeah, still okay. Okay, look out at those big levels there to the upside, guys. You know the story now. 110.8 and 112. If it pops 110.8, I'm shorting again at 112. Okay, I'm looking for that short again, and we'll go higher conviction in that area. Okay, did I cover INJ? No, sir. Let's look at INJ. Let's see what's going on. Okay, this was the plan I dropped in Chart Hackers earlier today. And let's see. Okay, so we were looking for the rejection at 14.9. Okay, and that's pretty much what we got. We got our rejection there on Injective. Let's see if is there going to be more stamina here. Let's look where our key support is at the moment. Where's our, you see, you got to pull out the super degen shit, and this works until it doesn't. Okay, the degen stuff, and then you got to start being a little bit more cautious with things. Okay, so in terms of degen support 14.4, okay, that makes perfect sense to me there. And then in terms of your banger, okay, like where do you get that sneaky long where they dump you into Asia? Bang, 14. Look there. Okay, there's your VWAP horizontal 382. So 14 is the big one. 14.4 is like proper degen. Okay, so look out there. 14.4 and 14. These charts will be in Chart Hackers for you guys in a few minutes. They're going to arrive there magically. And Crypto Lady's farting in the middle of the night. I mean, who doesn't, you know, to be fair. Sorry, you caught the trade. Okay, nice. Okay, congrats on that. And
My name is Jeff.
James, thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Okay, see you later. Guys, thank you. That was fun as always. Another day tomorrow. Okay, just be safe. You've got the big levels. You know what's potting there. Be safe. Lower leverage, less margin. You know the story. Smaller positions. Okay. See you guys later.